Noxcrew!
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Avondale and I am here today with Niall, and he is the Blue Helper Bot.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So today we're going to talk a little more behind the scenes with the game show, and we're going to talk about the game. So today we'll talk about Picture Panic V2, but first, let's talk a bit about the Helper Bot. So, you're wearing the helmet, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm wearing the pumpkin again. Hang on.
Yeah.
Because you did.
No, it's the
briefly put that on
Noxygen
the
gas helmet. It's not a helmet. It's not a pumpkin. It's a Noxygen gas helmet.
So this is a behind the scenes video.
Okay,
we can call it a pumpkin.
Well, let's look at the the Helper Bot real quick. So, yeah, it's actually a full person. You can see where he's standing on the ground right there. His shadow's pretty obvious.
Yep.
We're using a mod called HD Skins, and the Blue Helpbot skin, along with my Lobster Ref skin, are placed on a server, on a Dropbox, and the mod will actually access that file to get our skins out. So yeah, we'll look at his little claw arms there. Those are actually just skin down his shoulders. And an interesting thing about these skins is how highly detailed they are, because they're in HD. So if we walk inside of his head here, and we'll hit F1 to get rid of his tag, you can see that there's a whole circuit board in here that's really pretty cool.
Avondale, nobody's ever touched me like that before.
Wow.
It's actually too invasive. I feel very uncomfortable. I will be filing a complaint with HR.
That's fine. See if you can find HR in the Noxcrew Gameshow factory, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist. However, we should build it, shouldn't we?
That seems consistent. No, we shouldn't.
We should definitely build HR. We're building HR. We'll have HR for the next game show episode, guaranteed. Okay, so yeah, we are in we are in the Picture Panic V2 lobby.
It's all robots. It's RR. It's robot resources.
Well, fine, we'll build RR then. Okay, so Picture Panic V2 lobby, that's where we are right now. And each of these games actually has a lobby that the contestants go through and that we never show on our episodes. So
now all of these lobbies are designed after we build the games as a way to kind of, we'll build the game, we understand how it works, we get it all set up, then we'll build these once we know how the rules work and once we know exactly what we've done. Yeah.
Right.
So in this case, we just built like a small obstacle course, yeah.
Yeah, and we'll come back and talk about this a little more later. First, we're going to show off sort of why is the lobby over here? Well, it's because it's attached to the control room for the game. So this is where I would actually stand during the recording to change some settings around and start the game. And then if we fly down this tunnel over here and up, you'll see the viewing platform, and this is where the announcers actually stood during the game. And I would fly out through here to sort of watch the game and manipulate it in the case of this game. But we'll go down right now and we'll talk first about the Picture Panic V2 obstacle course.
Yeah, I love this one. This is by far one of the best obstacle courses we've built. It's a good mix between lightly challenging but really simple to understand what you have to do. Like, as soon as you get onto it, you know exactly, oh right, so I'm jumping across soul sand, so I'm climbing up a ladder, so I'm navigating my way through a slightly complex hilly obstacle course. And it's difficult enough that you will get better at it the second time, the third time, and the fourth time you play it, but it's not so difficult that you're ever going to get caught up or get stuck majorly.
And I really enjoy this obstacle course. I think it's one of the better ones that we've ever designed, just because of how fluid it is, and it serves the purpose really well. And the purpose of the obstacle course in this game was to get the contestants' blood flowing, so by the time they got to the picture and tried to build it, they had the adrenaline flow, and they would, you know, make a few more mistakes. And that's probably why a lot of the mistakes happened, is because of the need to get through this course more quickly.
It was a deliberate design to actually put these fence posts right here at the end, so that as soon as they kind of run through the fence post, they've got one block to stop and think before they actually hit this and automatically trigger the platform. Like, if they stop and think about it, they're like, oh no, I shouldn't trigger the platform just yet, I should actually look up and look at the picture. But we didn't see people doing that till the second runs through.
Right. Now, an
was
interesting
fantastic.
thing I just
Yeah.
noticed is everyone would run. There was a couple times people would run through and go, "Oh crap, I stepped on the platform," and then just keep running. You could actually
Yeah.
just sit here and wait for it to reset, look
could.
at the picture, and then run and do
Yeah.
it yourself. And
It's
yeah,
only 10 seconds.
nobody utilized that strategy. That's sort of interesting
No.
that people didn't try that, but I guess it makes sense. Uh,
Kind of testament to the design, though. Yeah.
Yeah. So, with pretty much all the games in episode 6, there were things that went really well, and there were also some things that didn't go so well. And so, throughout this series of videos, we're going to be talking about things that we liked about games and things that we didn't. And in the case of this game here, we're going to mention one more thing that we liked about it, and then we're going to talk about why we would never do a game like this again. And so, the one thing that we really liked about this game is the fact that it was a sort of one person is doing something while the other two people are supporting them and cheering them on, and so it puts all the pressure on you for a certain period of time. So you want to talk some more about that?
No, I just wanted to talk about chevrons, but
Oh,
go ahead,
of course.
you can keep talking about
Yeah,
that.
so we'll
Yeah,
mention
the chevrons.
Yeah, a little bit further. If we were to
Just
do
quickly.
do this idea again in the future, I think we would probably try to engage the people who are waiting a little bit more, give them some way to either control the course or control their opponent's course to make it less boring.
At the end of the day, that was what was the downfall of this event. Like, the fact that we only had one person running at any point in time meant that, like, when the two people were waiting, they got bored. They wanted to, you know, find a way to actually put content into their channel, so they were waiting by the doors on the opposite end to look through and help the other person build the picture without realizing that they really needed to run up, which caused major problems for this build.
Right. So yeah, talk about your chevrons.
Oh yeah, sorry, chevrons, just quickly. Chevrons are like parallel arrows that run in succession. So I really like chevrons. I like them better than checkerboards, but Landlord loves checkerboards and he's the lead builder for the game show. And I put all these chevrons in here just to indicate exactly where it was that the player needed to go. And we saw that, like, it's a great little design feature that's so subtle, but if somebody's like, where do I go? I've kind of lost my way. Even in like a two-way tunnel, you know, oh, look at the ground. There are arrows. It's just a nice little thing there. I'd like to see more game show games include chevrons if possible.
We will put that on the design document. Okay, so the reason that we will never do a game like this again is the door functionality. And so before we talk exactly about what happened, let's go take a look at the sample door over here. And I just compassed my way ahead of you. So if you come... Oh, there you are.
Hello. Oh yeah, we didn't show off this before. These are the HelperBot tubes. So with the HelperBot tubes, they're only 2x2, which makes them slightly frustrating to enter. You have to kind of hit your crotch or your head on the outskirts of it. But this was what the HelperBots used to transport around. It just kind of felt more game showy if the HelperBots moved physically through something rather than just teleporting to the players.
Yeah, and if you look up in here, this was their individual teleport rooms. So when they started the game, they actually appeared through here, and they would come out through these pipes. Really did help, sort of. If you remember 343 Guilty Spark in the library in Halo 1, how he would fly off to do something by shooting up a tunnel or going through a door that you couldn't access. We wanted to give it that similar feel. I think it worked.
Sure, I've played Halo. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That sounds so sincere. Okay, so anyways, back to these doors. Oh my. Alright, so I'm gonna jump in here now, and we're gonna talk about how they work. So pretend I'm the next one to go, and Niall over there, Blue Helpbot, has just finished the painting. So he falls into the water and he hits the button. And now I can go through here, and that triggers the next door to open. And so now if Niall's pretending to be the next player, so he's going to move up through that door.
I'm a different Helpbot now, guys.
Alright, he's light blue Helpbot. So when you go through that door, it shuts it behind you and it opens this next one. So now the player who had just climbed up the ladder here and hit the button needs to go through this door, which will shut that door and then restart the system. So now the next person who hits the button will trigger the dropper here. So that's how the doors work. So let's fly back out into the gigantic Picture Panic arena and talk about why that wasn't a good idea for us to do.
So whenever we design a game show game, we have to run through a whole bunch of things. We have to consider that the game show contestants are like children in the sense that they'll always run to the brightest point. They'll always play with things. They'll always break things wherever possible, and all in the name of entertainment, which is fine. We just have to make sure that when it comes down to it, they don't break the things that really matter. The problem with that is there are so many different contingency plans that we have to put in place, and when it comes to something like the doors, can't prepare for everything. You have to prepare for the most likely option, which is what you did, Evan.
Right, so when we redstoned these, first thing I should talk about is that the redstone doesn't get designed when the game gets designed. The game idea gets designed, it gets play tested without redstone. They decide we need to have this game in an episode, and then they find the redstoner, who in this case was me, and they say, here's what we need to have happen. Now in this instance, there was this series of doors here. There was the trap door, the first door, the second door, and then this button. And they all needed to happen in a certain sequence, and if anything happened out of order, it needed to not work. If anything happened twice, that needed to not affect it. And what this started to do is it started to outrageously complicate the redstone to the point where you needed to have fail-safes for your fail-safes. And so the first thing that I'm going to say about this is that this game idea should...
Several days on this?
I spent quite a lot of my time on this project, and we should not have used this game in the game show episode at all. That's what I'll start off by saying. I'll also say that it's totally understandable that the contestants didn't run through the door right when they were supposed to because they were trying to watch the painting. However, as a third part to that, I will also say that the redstone actually worked 100% as it was supposed to, and we knew that there was the potential for it to break if the contestants didn't run up through the doors. The only option for that to be fixed was that we teleport the players through, but we don't like to teleport the players around the game show factory unless they're in the tubes, because it doesn't really feel as game showy if we don't do that.
Yeah, it's a very physical kind of setting. Everything makes sense and has a sort of presence, whether or not it's like the factory or like even these beams on the walls. Everything feels like it's to some extent real. So like when we do anything to the contestant or put them through any sort of experience, it has to feel like they are just a person in this pseudo sci-fi land, and everything could theoretically work. So in the case of just teleporting them, that's yeah, it doesn't feel in theme with what the game show is. I just want to mention too, if you come and have a look at this ladder here, we deliberately made this ladder 2 blocks high above the actual tunnel, so that when somebody climbed up and went through the ladder, they couldn't get back out and couldn't press the button again, just in case somebody attempted to press the button twice, which would screw the redstone up. What we hadn't considered was if somebody had not pressed the button at all, meaning that they'd moved through as, I think, was it RPMX?
Yeah, he forgot to hit the button one time.
Did, he forgot to hit the button and got stuck. Like, we do include helper bots for the reason, so I actually didn't fly over and press the button myself to help them out, because like that's one of the reasons the help bots are in the game show. It's to do those little tasks when weird things like that happen.
Yeah, and we don't mind when things like that happen because we have the helper bots for that reason. It includes them more in the filming, and it sort of increases the fantasy of being in an actual game show factory. So yeah, I mean, we didn't mind that happening, but we really would have liked to either prevent or have a workaround for the doors not working. So to summarize this this talk about the redstone and the doors, it worked right, but we shouldn't have been relying on the contestants to go straight through the doors right when they needed to. It was unfortunate that it happened the way that it did, but we really did learn a lot from sort of including this concept in here. and I want to show you guys a potential fix for this if we ever try a game like this again in the future, where we could fix this idea. So let's head over there now. So we are here at the alternate solution for Picture Panic, which is Picture Panic V3 is what we were calling this. I don't think this will ever be used, but we were conceptualizing an obstacle course that starts and finishes in the same spot. It just goes uphill. And so it works around in a square, and what this does is when you finish the painting, you fall down into the water, swim over here, and then you'd push this button, and what this button would do is it would open every floor in the tower so that you would fall from this floor to this floor, and the person who was on this floor would fall a floor below, etc., until the person on the bottom would fall into the water and then run the obstacle course next. So in that sense, we would have a physical course that allows the players to move through it, but they wouldn't be able to get out of sync with the door system because they would be forced to fall. It helps, yeah, but it certainly doesn't fix all the problems. And if we fly over here to where we combine the two courses, Niall's going to talk about some of those problems that we did create.
So by fixing the problem of actually having the doors, removing the doors as an issue, we create the problem of having the two team members standing in that tower at the time not being able to see the picture and having no sense of scale. What they can see is they can see the opponent's picture, but it also means that when it comes to actually shooting the game show episode, you've got these two pictures facing in the opposite direction to each other. And one of the key criteria when it comes to building is that we have to be able to clearly demonstrate the progress of both teams in a single visual shot. Like, at least one camera needs to be able to do that at all times. So the problem with this is, unless we change these birchwood planks into glass, there'd be no way for the cameras to tell just how far along the other team was, unless they did a quick rotate around. So, and there's no way to tell, for example, how far one team member is across the obstacle course compared to the other team, because they're very far apart. When it comes down to these design things, that's the reason why this one will probably never see the light of day, because we fix one problem, we create three more. Right. A lot of the time when we're building, it's kind of a choice of the lesser evil.
However, this concept can certainly be used where the obstacle course sort of works itself back to its start. Instead of doing it in a gigantic square like this, though, we might do it so they're side by side in a line where they run down, turn around, and run back right next to each other. But, we are thinking all the time about ways to improve our game designs for sure, and this was just a test as to one of the ways that we could potentially fix it. So
we have Google Docs and everything.
We do, so many Google Docs. Okay, so we've talked about Picture Panic V2, said the things we liked and disliked about it, and I think we covered everything, so that's it for today. If you want to join us next time, we'll talk about Biloxi Beach.
Alright, thanks guys.
Bye.
Bye.